Hello guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. This video is going to be a little bit different. This video is going to be my rankings, my ratings of each Skybet Championship team from worst to last, from worst to best. Let's see where your club are ranked and what rating I give them out of 10. 10 being the worst rating and 1 being the best. So let's get straight into it. At the top, we've got Fulham, who are the first team to clinch promotion from the Skybet Championship. They have played 42 matches in the Skybet Championship, so they are now promoted with 4 games to spare. They've got a goal difference of 61, and they've currently got 86 points. Mitrovic has broke the record for Fulham for a championship goal scorer. He has got 40 league goals for the season. They got promoted after beating Preston North End 3-0 last night at Craven Cottage. They've got upcoming games against Nottingham Forest and Luton in the playoffs. 2 playoff hopefuls. Before this game, where they got promoted, they lost back-to-back games against Coventry and Derby. So they haven't had the perfect season, but they've got the job done. Fulham. My rating for Fulham out of 10 has got to be 1 out of 10. The best. Because they've been promoted. Marco Silva has done the job the board wanted him to do. They could probably win the league yet as well. They could probably win the league. They're 9 points clear at the top. They only need to win a game to secure the league title. Job done for Fulham. Number 1 rating. Can't get any better than that, but let's see. In second place, we've got Afc Bournemouth, who have played 41 matches, got a goal difference of plus 30, and are currently on 77 points. They do have a game extra than Fulham, but they are currently occupying that second automatic promotion place, which is very important for Bournemouth. They won 3-0 at Coventry at the weekend. Dominic Solanke has took his tally to 27 goals for the season after he scored 2 at Coventry in that 3-0 win. They're starting to keep clean sheets as well. They had back-to-back draws before this, at home to Middlesbrough and away at Sheffield United, so playoff hopeful teams, and a 3-0 win at Coventry. And they've got Fulham coming up on Saturday, so it's the top 2 going head-to-head, so it'll be a really good game, that. And they're in form as well, Bournemouth. So my rating for Bournemouth at this stage, if they don't slip up on automatic promotion, will be 2 out of 10. 1 being the best rating, in my opinion. They're getting the job done. Scott Parker left Fulham to go to Bournemouth to take them up. They're on course of doing that if they don't have any more slip-ups. So, in my opinion, Bournemouth are up there, and rightly so. 2 rating. In third place, we have Huddersfield Town. Played 43 matches, plus 13 goal difference and 73 points. They had a very important win against playoff chasing Middlesbrough at the Riverside Stadium, 2-0 at the weekend. Massive, massive win to probably secure Huddersfield's playoff place, actually. Looking at it. Maybe not quite yet, but then pretty much there. Another victory will do it. Last 3 fixtures for them were 2-0 win at home to Luton on Monday the 11th. Good Friday, they drew 2-2 at home to QPR, and then they beat Middlesbrough away on Bank Holiday Monday. They've got Barnsley, Coventry and Bristol City coming up, so you'd probably expect at least 7 points out of them 9 there for Huddersfield and pretty much secure their playoff place. I'm going to give Huddersfield a rating of 4 because I think Corberon, the manager who left Leeds, has done a terrific job there. New ownership as well, not been easy. Probably one of the lowest spenders as well in the Championship, Huddersfield, and I think they've done really, really well considering where they are. And credit to them, credit to the manager, and the best of luck in the playoffs. My rating is 4 for Huddersfield. Next, we've got a real surprise package in Luton Town in 4th place. Played 43 matches, goal difference of +14 and 71 points. These are the lowest spenders in the league, the lowest budget. They are punching way above their weight, and they got a well-earned 1-0 victory over Cardiff away from home to secure their playoff place, to cement their playoff place. Could they catch Bournemouth in 2nd place? I don't think they can. They just need to focus on cementing their places in the playoffs. I think Huddersfield and Luton have pretty much got their place covered in the playoffs with 3 games to go. Their remaining 3 fixtures for them are Blackpool at home on Sky, then they've got Luton, and then they've got Fulham away, and then they finish the season at home to Reading. So Luton should be fine in the playoffs before that Reading game. They can rest some players, get themselves ready for the playoffs. So yeah, my rating for Luton is a 1 as well. It might be surprising, but the job that Nathan Jones has done there on the budget, on the resources he's got, is exceptional. So if it wasn't for Fulham on top spot, Luton would also be right up there as well. And for me, they've done a terrific job, Luton, to get where they are. So yeah, my number 1 rating for Luton Town, well deserved. In 5th place, we've got Nottingham Forest on 41 matches played, 70 points with a goal difference of 28. I think Forest are the only team now that can catch Bournemouth mathematically with the games in hand they've got. Colback scored an incredible volley at the weekend in a 4-0 win over 10-man West Brom on Easter Monday. Massive win for Nottingham Forest. This confidence boosting after a disappointing away defeat at Luton on Good Friday. They've backed that up with a 4-0 win at home, and then they've got Peterborough, Fulham and Swansea coming up as well. So some tough games, because Peterborough are fighting for their lives down there, which we will get to later on. But Nottingham Forest should be fine in the playoffs, shouldn't bottle it this time. And they're probably the only team that can really catch Fulham at this stage. At Bournemouth, at this stage. But we will see. My rating for Forest at the moment is a 3. I think since Steve Cooper's come in, he's worked an absolute revelation there. He's got them from the bottom of the league to a playoff contending, automatic promotion contending team. It's from the start of the season pretty much. They've barely lost any games. They're on a massive winning run. They did well in the cup. Massive credit to Steve Cooper and the team. I'm going to give them a 3 rating because I think that's what they deserve at this stage. It may change if they bottle the playoffs, but at this stage they've done a really good job, and that's my rating for Nottingham Forest. And the last playoff place at the moment is Sheffield United, who have played 43 games, 66 points. They are 1 point inside the playoffs from the teams below, with Millwall chasing up the backsides. I'm going to give Sheffield United a 5 rating because they drew 1-1 at Bristol City and they haven't really been convincing this season. They haven't been consistent. They lost 2-1 at home to Reading on Good Friday, drawing 0-0 at home to Bournemouth and then beating QPR 1-0. They're just so unpredictable, so so inconsistent. And I don't think you can give them any higher than a 5, an average 5, to be honest. They've been good. They're up there for a reason because of the quality players they've got. But they need to have more consistency if they're wanting to go up via the playoffs. So I'm going to give Sheffield United a 5. Millwall, 1 point behind Sheffield United on 65 points. Been really good this season, Millwall, with the players they have as well. Bedekofobe, Scott Malone, Jed Wallace, Mully Wallace. They beat Hull 2-1 at the Den at the weekend. Massive, massive win that was for Millwall in the race for the playoffs. I'm going to give Millwall a 4 because I think they are overachieving in terms of the budget they're on and the players they've got as well to be chasing them playoffs again in the Championship. They're doing very, very well. And I'm sure they'll get to the playoffs at some point, but I think they will just fall short this season. So I'm going to give Millwall a 4 because they are quite consistent, more consistent than Sheffield United at the moment. But Sheffield United are up there because they seem to get more wins than Millwall, but Millwall are still chasing them down. So I'm going to give them a 4 just because of how well the team are doing and the manager considering the resources they have. In 8th place, we've got Blackburn Rovers. How are these still in a playoff race? I don't know. They've dropped off massively this season. They lost 1-0 at Stoke on Monday night. They're just so inconsistent. They can't seem to win a game at the moment, but they're still in a playoff race. They were in automatic promotion hunts in January time, and they've just fallen off massively. They're still hanging in the playoff race. I don't know how, but they are. So you've got to give credit to Tony Mowbray for that. I'm going to give Blackburn a 6 just because of the way they've fallen off in the second half of the season, but they have hung in there to stay in the playoff race, as I've said. A 6 is just because they're so inconsistent. They can't really get a win at the moment. Yes, they've got Brereton Diaz back from injury and Bradley Dack as well, which is a massive boost for them. But Blackburn Rovers, I don't think you'll be getting the playoffs this season. You're not consistent enough. And yeah, you'll probably fall off towards the end of the season as well. 9th place, we've got Middlesbrough. Chris Wilder's Middlesbrough still in that playoff race as well on 63 points. I don't really know what to say about Middlesbrough. They lost 2-0 at home to Huddersfield on Bank Holiday Monday. They've got Cardiff coming up and Swansea as well and Stoke to finish their season off. Do I think they will get playoffs? It's hard to say because there's so many teams so close to the playoffs, but only 4 teams can get there, or 2 for them 4 places. I don't think Middlesbrough will get the playoffs. I think there's better teams above them that are in more momentum and in better form than Middlesbrough at the moment to get the playoffs. So I'm going to give Middlesbrough a rating of 6. Because I think they've had an underwhelming season considering the talent they've brought in Balogun, Watmore. So much talent they've got, Middlesbrough. Let's just have a look at the teams. Watmore, Balogun, Bamber as well, very experienced at the back. Bowler. Some good top-end Premier Championship players as well with Paddy McNair, ex-Man United player. They're just underwhelming, Middlesbrough, and I don't think Chris Wilder has quite got it right there yet. Maybe next season if he stays, but I don't see Middlesbrough getting to the playoffs, so I'm going to give them a rating of 6. In 10th place, we've still got Queen's Park Rangers, who are still in the hunt for the playoffs with 3 points off the playoffs in 10th place. They've picked up a bit of form recently after beating Derby County 1-0 and sadly relegated them. How are QPR still in this playoff race? I don't know. I don't think they will get it because they're not consistent enough. Mark Warburton, he's done an alright job there to get them in contention for the playoffs, but they were asking for his head a few weeks ago when he went on a run of like 6 straight defeats or something. So I think it is a little bit too late for QPR to sneak in there, but you never know with the teams above you. Depends who they're playing and how they react to the pressure as well. But I'm going to give QPR a 6 as well, because I think they have slightly underachieved in a way with the players they've got in Andre Gray, Charlie Austin, Alias Chair as well. They've got some good players there, and maybe they should be in that top 6 already, but they're not at this moment, and I don't think they will be by the end of the season, so I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. Next, we've got Coventry, who still have an outside chance of the playoffs, but they need to win every game. I don't think they will. They're on 62 points with 43 games played. They've had a terrific season, though, Coventry. Mark Robins, what a job he's done there. They lost 3-0 to Bournemouth, though, unfortunately, at the weekend. But before this, they beat Birmingham, Fulham, and lost to Forest. So they are inconsistent as well, Coventry. But that's what you have to expect from a team like that. Grafting, not really expected to win every game, but do come up with some surprise results. I'm going to give Mark Robins and Coventry a 5 out of 10. I think it was a bang average season for Coventry. They haven't overachieved and they haven't underachieved either. They're probably where they should be at this stage. And with some investment and some development in the squad as well, I'm sure they'll bounce even further up in the season next year and the coming seasons as well. So I'm going to give Coventry a 5 out of 10. In 12th place, we've got West Brom. Very, very disappointing season from West Brom's point of view. They brought in Steve Bruce after sacking Ishmael halfway through the season. There's a lot of discontent now at the moment between the players and the fans. It's not looking great. They've had a very underwhelming season, but one of their bright sparks towards the end was bringing in Andy Carroll. They're currently on 60 points. Don't think they could get the playoffs now. They lost 4-0 to Forest on Monday. They beat Blackpool before that and lost to Stoke and then beat Bournemouth. So at this moment, West Brom are losing one, winning one, losing one, winning one. They're not consistent enough to be a playoff team. So I am going to give West Brom a 7 because of the quality they've got in their team. They should be doing way, way better than this. Very underwhelming season from my point of view as an outsider watching West Brom. They look boring to watch. They look frustrated. They look frustrating to watch. And Steve Bruce as well, having that, must add to the frustration of the fans. So I'm going to give you a 7. 13th, we've got Swansea City. They brought in Russell Martin at the start of the season to become manager. I think it has been a very underwhelming season for Swansea's fans' point of view because I think they demand at least a playoff spot and they're finishing in mid-table. They've been in good form recently. They drew 4-4 at the weekend against Reading. They then drew to Barnsley and beat Derby County. So they are scoring goals, but they're also leaking a lot of goals as well. And I think that's Swansea's problem and Russell Martin's to sort out from an outside point of view. They are an entertaining team. They have got some good players in that Pirro and Obafemi up front who score loads of goals. But Swansea have just been very underwhelming this season and finishing in mid-table and probably deserve to. As they see by the goal difference, they've got a -5 goal difference. They probably deserve that. They've conceded more goals than they have scored, and that's probably cost them this year in a race for a playoff spot. So, yeah, I'm going to give Swansea a 6 because I think they have had a decent end to the season. Like the past month or two have been a lot better for Swansea. But they've been really inconsistent throughout the season and should be winning games that they're not. Yeah, Swansea City a 6 for me. Stoke City, however, these are just really unpredictable to predict now. They were a top flight club. They can't seem to get back up there under Martin O'Neill, sorry. They're going to finish in 14th place, it looks like, unless They can get any higher. They beat Blackburn at the weekend, 1-0 at Ewood Park. They then lost to Bristol City the week before, beat West Brom and lost to Reading. So they're like Swansea and West Brom themselves, so inconsistent. Winning one, losing one. Very unpredictable. Not consistent enough for Stoke to be challenging for the playoffs. They were up there at the start, really good start to the season, then slowly faded off. So I've got to give Stoke a 7 because of the players they've got. They should be doing way, way better than this. 7 rating for Stoke. 15, Preston North End. Bury's old manager, Ryan Law, went in partway through the season. Has done a good job, to be fair. He's brought them clear of the relegation places. He's on 58 points with 3 games left. He's probably going to finish lower mid-table. They lost 3-0 to promoted Fulham last night. Friday, they drew to Millwall. They then beat QPR and beat Blackpool. So they are quite consistent, Preston. They just need to strengthen their team, get Ryan Lowe's, his players that he wants in the summer, and see how they go from there. But Preston, I'm going to give an average 5 to, because I think that's where they should be, roundabout. Having sacked the manager, not had the best of seasons, but maybe next season they can start pushing for them playoffs again. But this season, it was just about a stability this season when Ryan Lowe came in. Just about getting stability in the club and in the playing squad and picking up results and making sure they're not getting close to that relegation zone, which they have done, which is great. So Preston North End, an average 5 for me. Blackpool, what a cracking first season they're having back in the Championship. They were outsiders for a playoff spot at a time, but then they lost a few games, so they're not going to get that now, but they're also not going to go down. They're on 56 points. They beat Birmingham 6-1 on Bank Holiday Monday. They then lost 2-1 to West Brom before that. Quite unlucky, actually. And then they drew 1-1 at Blackburn. So in a way, it's a solid return to the Championship for Blackpool, in my opinion. Neil Critchley, good job there with some good players like... what's his name? CJ Hamilton, Gary Medine, Lavery as well, Shane Lavery, Dougal, Josh Bowler as well for Blackpool. Some good players in the Championship they brought up. And very comfortable and very respectable return for Blackpool. I'm going to give them an average 5 because I think that's what they deserve. They've not been great and they've not been bad, just a good average, stabilised return to the Championship. Cardiff, we'll do Cardiff and Bristol City together because they're on the same points. Cardiff, I'm going to give a 7 to, because I think they have had a very, very underwhelming season. They sacked Mick McCarthy at the start of the season, if I'm not mistaken, and brought in Steve Morrison. Cardiff are a team that should be up near the playoffs, in my opinion, not down near the bottom half. So I'm going to give them a 7. Bristol City, do what Bristol City do, they survive. I'm going to give them a 6. Not really attractive team, to be honest. They get the job done. They've got Pearson in charge, haven't they? He was at Leicester. Not very entertaining, but they get the job done. Give them a 6. Hull City in 19th. Very respectable return to the Championship. Their main focus this season was to stay in the Championship, and that's probably what's going to happen now. I don't see them going down. They're mathematically safe, in my opinion. They brought a new manager in after sacking Grant McCann, and they picked up a few good results when he arrived, and they managed to maintain that. They've got good players in Keane, Potter, Lewis Potter. Yeah, good respectable start for Hull City. I'll give them a 5. Birmingham, really, really disappointing this season under Lee Bowyer. They've recently lost 6-1 at Blackpool. Birmingham's hard team to give a rating to because they're a massive club. They should be in a Premier League club, really, not fighting at the bottom of the Championship. So I'm going to give Birmingham an 8, just because the players have down-tooled towards the end of the season and not cared about the fans. There's so much discontent between the club and the fans and the players at the moment, so it is a bit of a mess. So Lee Bowyer's trying to do what he can, but I can only give Birmingham an 8 because they're such an underwhelming side to watch at the moment. Reading, Paul Ince went in there after a 9-point deduction, was it? 6-point deduction for Reading. Let me have a look. 6-point deduction, yeah, for Reading. Kept them up. Great job. Not quite survived just yet, I don't think. But they're pretty much there for Reading. Drawing 4-4 with Swansea on Monday. They don't know when they're beaten under Paul Ince. They've got Paul Ince's son, Tom Ince. Lucas Jow as well up front. Some good players in that Reading team. But they are very underwhelming this season. They should also be chasing for the playoffs, which they're not. So I can only give Reading an 8 as well. So underwhelming. Such a big club that shouldn't be where they are. But sadly, that's what it is. That's where they are. But they have managed to stay up under Paul Ince. Peterborough, didn't really know what to predict with them. I think they are doing better than predicted. I probably predicted them to finish bottom at the start of the season. But they've done better than predicted. So they are in 22nd place at the moment. They are 7 points adrift with 9 to play. So realistically, they need to win every single game left to stand a chance of survival. I'm going to give Peterborough a 7. Just because they've done a little bit better than I thought, but not strong enough to stay in the division, not good enough to stay in the division. 7 for Peterborough. Derby County, this is a hard one to take. They were deducted 21 points. They were still in with a chance of survival before the weekend, before Reading picked up their point and Derby lost. 21-point deduction, only 10 points in it at the moment. Derby County, you can only give them credit with Wayne Rooney and that young team. But unfortunately, they just couldn't get it over the line at the end. So you've got to be critical in a way, as well as respectful. So I'm going to give Derby a 7. Just because they've got a bunch of young players who have developed so much under Wayne Rooney this season, but also couldn't quite get the job done under the circumstances. But I'm not going to blame them for that. So I'm going to give Derby County 7. And Barnsley, so underwhelming this season. Expected a lot more from them. They were in the playoffs last year. I don't know what's happened to them. But they are going to go down in bottom, in last place, I think. So I'm going to give Barnsley a 9 because they're just not good enough. They had the playoffs to go for. So they're my ratings. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It did seem a bit rushed because there was just a few teams that in mid-table couldn't really talk much about. Give them an average rating. Please let me know what you think about my rating, about your team in the Skybet Championship. Let's hope we get a good end to the season, the last 3 or 4 games of the season for each team. And let me know down in the comments what you think about this video and if you want any more. Please, can we get 30 likes on this video to do an end-of-season championship review with more ratings and more predictions for next season. And predictions for the playoffs as well, because there's going to be playoffs very shortly. So please remember to like, subscribe and share the channel, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.